Okay, this video is gonna help us understand how to use the widget. I wouldn't say it's really a guide on how the answers, but it's kind of an example of how we use the widget to help us with our work. So if you guys have read through Puzzle 1, the lesson overview, we talked about how RGB is the red, green, and blue values that we choose to create a color, or I guess to identify the exact color we want. Red, green, and blue makes the different colors, and we could create essentially any color we want depending on what values we choose for it. So we're just trying to have you experiment. So the first thing we want you to do is run the widget. You hit run down here, and we're gonna match the colors below, and we're gonna match the R red, G blue, green, I'm sorry, and B blue values to see what color this makes. So here it's given here 216, 191, 216. This is how you're going to see it in code, and this is how you're going to code it as well. So essentially the red's value is 216, so we're going to let in 216. It doesn't have to be exact. If you notice, a couple numbers left and right doesn't really change much. So 218 is close enough for me. The green value 191, we're going to change that green slide, the 191, it's the middle number. We're going to change that slider for green to 191, and again, it doesn't have to be exact. And finally, the blue value, we're going to choose 216, and we're going to change the slider to 216. And again, this is close enough for me. It doesn't have to be exact. I wish you could type in, but you cannot do that. So for A, we chose the values that were given to us, and we notice in the background that's the value, that's the color we created based on the RGB values. So we have some sort of purple violet color. So on the activity guide, it's actually on this side, the RGB for 216, 191, 216. That's the first one we did. We came up with a violet color. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight it with the violet color just to kind of match it up. You could go ahead and just type it in if you want. You could type in A right here if you want. It's up to you what you want to do for that one. Okay, so you might want to pause the video here and finish up bubble 2 before continuing the video. I'll talk about bubble 3 to 5. So okay, for bubble 3, we're just going to go to the next page. Once you're done with all the 5, we'll go to the next page. We hit finish. And it's going to take us to bubble 3. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to be making the color based on what they gave us. So they're giving us winter blue, and they want us to find the RGB values for wintry blue color. You might want to look at these hints. I'm not going to read it here, but you might want to look at it if you're having trouble. I actually really had to look at the how do I make a color lighter. But let's go ahead and start testing out. So right now, with all the values at max, we create almost essentially a white color. So we're going to have to go ahead and play around with this. I know I want all the blues because I'm creating a bluish color. So now how do I create a wintry blue? So we're going to go ahead and play around with it. We want it more towards this end of the spectrum if you're looking at here. So I'm just going to play around with it. Let's leave the green somewhat high as well. We want less red. Again, the wintry blue. So we want less red, and we're noticing that it's turning, I guess, bluer for the lack of a better word. Okay, we continue playing with it a bit. And again, just like before, it doesn't have to be exact. Let's see. And we're going to notice that the color in the background here is starting to get closer and closer to the winter blue. And again, it's not exact, but this is fairly close. And for our purposes, we don't need to get the exact number, the values. So I'm going to go ahead and just call it. This is close enough to me. 192, 232, and 255. Okay, so let's go back and let's do that part. So for bubble 3, the wintry blue, the red value, let's check out, is about 192. The green value is about 232. And the blue value we left at max at 255. And the CS code would be, we're sort of copying it from here, RGB 192. Oops. Oh yeah, I do have 192 here, comma 232, comma 255, and close the parentheses. I'm going to change this font. It's kind of hard to read, oops, based on the font we have. But that would be the CSS code for this. Okay, so that's going to be this assignment, essentially kind of working with the RGB values and understanding how we could choose the levels. We'll be using these values later to make our website.